BBC Breakfast hosts Dan Walker, 42, and Louise Minchin, 50 have been hosting the show together for the last 3 years. And during an interview with The Mirror, Dan spoke about the advice he was given by former BBC presenter Bill Turnbull. Dan began, "The only bit of advice Bill Turnbull gave me when I replaced him 3 years ago was manage your sleep. And foolishly, I've entirely ignored Mr. Turnbull. So, I sleep for about 4.5 hours for the first half of the week. Louise sleeps a lot more than me." Discussing how he manages on so little sleep, the sports journalist continued, "I don't know quite how, but I've managed to survive because in my head, I always think, well, I've got some other days where I've been doing normal hours, so I'll just recover then." However, there are some occasions where Dan has not even gone to bed and instead pulled an all-nighter. "Occasionally, don't tell my boss, but very rarely I do pull an all-nighter, because in my head I convince myself I have to do it for research purposes. But I hate missing out on things. So when the Masters is on, which is always a really late finish on the Sunday night, I watch that. And when Danny will at 1 I may have stayed up all night," he added. Those that tune into BBC Breakfast have made Dan and Louise their firm favourites. Taking to Twitter to comment, one said, "Great duo, perfect team. Nice and cheery. Well done Dan and Louise. BBC Breakfast makes my morning. Good morning Louise and Dan," another remarked. A third wrote, "Well, I think BBC Breakfast is great. I especially love watching when Dan and Louise are presenting. At breakfast Louise and Dan are the best, love them." Someone wrote, "I've entirely ignored Mr. Turnbull." Dan to The Mirror. It comes after today's show when the pair clashed live on air. A story they shared with the viewers discussed a member of the public asking his girlfriend to marry him by drawing a Harry Potter house emblem into the sand. And Dan and Louise had a different view about how one should go about proposing, with one suggesting you should start small, but the other thought the bigger the better. It was sports presenter Sally Nugent, 47, who had to intervene and calm the conversation down. BBC Breakfast airs mornings at 6 a.m. on BBC